We have been seeing impacts from these protests across the country, including right here in Portland. And tonight, our Audrey WEIL talked with an expert on right-wing groups.
That's right. Audrey is joining us now live where a group is gathering downtown Portland right now. Audrey?
Right, we're in downtown Portland. Portland police have actually declared an unlawful assembly. I want to give you a look at the damage right here. This is the Target on 10th and Alder. We can hear this freshly broken glass dripping. We're trying not to get too close here. We saw that one glass pane fall. And Portland police just put on Twitter that they declared an unlawful assembly because this group of maybe about 60 people or so have been going through downtown, smashing windows, committing crime. So we want to give you a look at some of the video we've gotten just in the past half hour or so. We've essentially been following a trail of broken glass windows in downtown Portland. Right here at Target, we've also seen the Starbucks on 4th and Morrison had its windows smashed. We saw several bank buildings with smashed windows. We even saw some Portland police officers inside investigating some of those broken windows. Again, an unlawful assembly here right now. And based on what we've seen in Portland in these past 7 months or so, now the question becomes, what does the future hold?
2020 was a tense and violent year in Portland, with both left and right-wing protests, clashes between the two, and times when police worked to keep groups apart. Now, after what unfolded at the nation's capital, Portland State adjunct professor Alexander Reed Ross says we could see more animosity here.
What do you think the next 6 months, say, will look like in Portland?
I think we're all going to be on tenterhooks. I think it's going to be an anxious time. We're going to need a lot of very strong leaders to actually turn out and try to ameliorate what could become an extremely violent period.
Today, Portland City Commissioners called for peace. The mayor said he didn't anticipate unrest, but has been in contact with the police chief to keep everyone safe.
Violence is a disease, which is more contagious than any virus that humans have ever known. And there's only one way to combat that disease, and that is to embrace the politics of peace.
Ross says during the election, there started to be some shift in demonstrations.
The far right started to take momentum from the left, and you started to see the number of left-wing protests going down and the number of right-wing protests going up. And effectively what's happened, I think, is that the left has sort of folded its energy into the electoral process, whereas the right has been moving outside of the electoral process and in opposition to it.
And he says there's a reason right-wing groups often come here.
Portland especially is the symbol of everything that's wrong with America to the far right. They see Portland through this really kind of dark prism as, you know, the Satanist capital of the United States.
He says now what we need to do is approach these situations seriously to bring stability and to make sure those who facilitated the event at the nation's capital are held accountable.
And we've seen Portland police vehicles up and down here on 10th. There's an officer here, or at least who was here. It looks like he's just getting back into his car or out of his car over there, looking at some of the damage here to the windows at Target. Again, Portland police have declared this an unlawful assembly, and we'll stay on top of it for you. Reporting live in downtown Portland, Audrey WEIL, Fox 12 Oregon.